Welcome back to the Fit Dad Club podcast. I'm here with myself, Travis Jones, and Jason Barrett. Jace, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing better than I was yesterday, and yesterday was better than the day before. It's the nature of the beast, the road to recovery after little lumbar tweaks, which happen on the journey, but you can't let them get you down, except for when they physically make you have to lie down. But that's the only time it's acceptable.
Jace is back, everyone, last week, for those who don't know, and he is slowly rehabbing that. But he will still be running and still be training, but it's just adjusting his training and plan around
Yes.
his back issues.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the biggest thing I think with a lot of guys that I speak to that have injuries and that kind of stuff. It is just about managing. Like I've spoken multiple times about a client of mine who's got one leg and all he can do is basically all he can do is walk. He has his physical therapy a couple times a week, and he's been losing weight. He's been getting fitter because again, for a lot of results, dieting is the main part. Now, I can't train with the intensity to bulk, so guess what? I've stopped eating bulking calories. I've learned this trick multiple times before. You don't bulk calories when you can't bulk train. So the big thing for me is just going to be running, then isolation work, calf work, just to grow my calves to be half the size of Trav's, and I'll be happy. And then grow the upper body. But again, it is all about perspective. It's like, yes, there was probably about 2 days there where I felt like shit and I couldn't move, and it was just like seizing up and grabbing, and it was basically like contractions. If you're listening in the car with your wife, she probably just snorted and rolled her eyes.
Yep.
That's all right. That's probably fair. That's the only comparison I had to make. But then after that, it's like, all right, well, that's the way that it is. Now we just adjust and we move on. You give yourself that time to process and deal with what happened. It's like, oh, if only I went back in time and didn't do this thing. It's like, well, fucking, if you couldn't go back in time, do more important things with going back in time. I'd buy the winning lotto ticket and take the back pain. I'll deal with it. All right.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. Well, today we're going to talk about the 6 reasons why you fail with long-term body transformation. I think it's such an important thing because I think anyone out there at all has tried to lose weight before, and they might not have done it successfully. 90% of people haven't done it successfully. 90% of people who lose weight gain it back within 3 years. And that's the cycle continues again and again and again. And it's in the high 90 percentages of the percentage of diets that fail. So what we want to try and nail down the 6 top reasons why you failed to keep the weight off, stay athletic, and be strong as a fit dad, so you can not fall prey to these failures or misguidances again. So I think we're just going to get straight into it today, guys. We're going to go through the 6. Each of them are just as important as the next. So make sure you tune in, make sure you listen, because I don't want you to fall for these, because if you do, you're just going to keep going through the same merry-go-round again and again and never losing the weight. And you'll be like, oh, I've got a slow metabolism, big bone, my wife feeds me too much, or whatever excuse you want to make. But in reality, you probably fall prey to one of these 6. The first one is you followed a fad diet. And it's as simple as this, right? You followed a fad diet. You never learned the principles of weight loss, and all you did was insert, fad diet here, which and gives you poor nutrition choices: keto, carnivore, intermittent fasting, 5-2, low carb, South Beach. I don't care what you're doing. The South Beach low carb carnivore, I don't know how they all work.
Vegan carnivore.
Yeah, exactly. The vegan people go vegetarian for losing weight. It's like, why? So you've done a diet, and what you've done is there's the method, and we've talked about this again. There's methods and there's principles. There's a method to achieve the principle. The principle of weight loss is a calorie deficit. You consume less calories than you burn, and you will lose weight. Now, we want to lose fat, not weight, and we can get into that more. But when we understand, if you consume less calories than you burn, then you will lose weight. Now, how a low carb does that by cutting out carbohydrates, okay? You cut out a third of the macronutrients that someone's allowed to eat, it pushes them into a calorie deficit. Same as carnivore, you literally cut out, all carbs and you cut out a bunch of, everything except meat, okay? Push you into a calorie deficit. It's the same as, if we're going vegetarian, you're cutting out a bunch of fatty foods. If we're going, if we're going low carb, if we're going high protein, if we're going keto, all you're doing is you're cutting out specific things which shifts you into the principle, which is the calorie deficit. If you're going intermittent fasting, if you're doing the 5-2, well, intermittent fasting will be, giving you a time restricted feeding window, which then gives you less time to eat calories, which pushes you into a calorie deficit. The 5-2 diet, which is like 800 calories for 2 days of the week, it pushes your weekly calories into the calorie deficit. All of these diets adhere to the same principle, because if they didn't, they wouldn't work. Okay, that's just how diets work, with a calorie deficit. So the problem is the fad diet, it was not sustainable long term. No one wants to not eat pizza and burgers for the rest of their life. So low carb's not going to work, right? No one wants to eat like fatty food keto all day long. I would also, say most people don't want to go vegetarian for most of their life. The percentage of vegetarians who turn back to eating meat is larger than percentage of vegetarians who stay vegetarian. It's actually quite interesting. But if you're going on a diet that isn't sustainable, then you will go back to your old behaviors, because you never actually changed your behaviors. What you did is you put a blanket over your behaviors for a certain period of time. You never increase your nutrition IQ. You followed a crappy ass meal plan. So you never actually learnt, calories or food or what it's all about. And you're going to be eating for the rest of your life. So I would 100% say you should learn about this. And because this, you lost the weight. You then defaulted back to your old behaviors, or even it was too hard, so you defaulted back to your old behaviors, then you put all the weight back on. So that is why following fad diets or just blanket meal plans simply don't work, and is it is the top reason why your body transformation did not work long term.
Yeah, because then all you have is an A and B mindset. A, I'm on a diet, and that requires restriction, or you become a like a martyr of the method, which is it has to be keto. Keto is the only thing that worked for me. Yeah, because every other thing you tried, you just kept eating fucking pasta, and keto told you you're not allowed pasta. Oh, keto's magic. No, that's not the fucking case, right? You just you just ate a lot of fucking pasta, bro. It's a lot easier to eat a lot of pasta than it is to eat a lot of ribeyes. That's for sure. You get sick after a while. But the idea of fad diets and these temporary fixes, it puts you into A or B. I mean, they're eating the way that my default, right, or my design. You might hear Imogen; she's sick of fad diets. Honestly, she's sick of being fed diets. That's what she just wants to eat the random shit we find on the floor. That's also another way to lose weight, right? You just eat whatever's on. I mean, if you can only eat what's on the floor. But it puts you in this mindset of A or B. Either my default, which has been just the way I don't know, this is the way I learned from my parents, or from pretty sure that the nutrition pyramid from school told me that I should eat mostly grains and fruits and veg and stuff. Look, even if you follow that, you probably still don't listen to that shit, because KFC is not a fucking grain. It's not a fruit or veg. Right? Chicken doesn't grow on trees. So you go into this A or B mindset, and it kind of leads me into, in my opinion, it leads into sort of number 2, where it's you try to do a challenge, or you try to lose weight for a set period of time. It's like, I'm doing this for this many weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. You didn't try and change your life. You didn't actually address the root cause. You didn't address the real issue for yourself, which is the fact that you're eating shit. You don't know much about food. And then you're just like, I'm just going to do this temporary challenge. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's it. Right? Oh, cool. After the end of the 16 weeks, I'll be shredded. Right. But you didn't actually look to, as Trav said, address any of the skeletons in the closet, or any of the shit that you've piled in the corner when the guests come over, and you put it all in the guest room and you put the blanket over the top of it so your house looks neat. That's what you're doing with your mind. That's what you're doing with your nutrition and your habits. And as a result, you don't actually change any of the shit that actually affects change long term. Like, if you become a different person who's like, you know what, I stop eating Cheerios for breakfast, and I start eating Greek yogurt and berries and protein for breakfast, and that is a lifestyle change. Like, if you're out there and that is a change that you make, you will see some fucking positive health benefits.
Yeah.
Like 100%, especially if you get one of those big ass bowls of cereal, right? We just scale down the bowl, put some yogurt, berries, and protein powder in there. You will notice a fucking difference. That is for sure. But that comes from wanting to do a lifestyle change and wanting to change your habits deep down and actually become a different person rather than I'm just going to do this for 16 weeks and then hopefully I keep the abs this time, if you even get there.
Dude, 100%. I think the biggest thing when we're looking at the fad diet side of things, because people get results, right? Of course they do. They don't realize they get the results because of the calorie deficit. They think they got the results because of the fad diet. And again, we talk to so many dads out there. And I talk to people, I have obviously for over 20 years on this whole concept. So with this, they say, well, carbs make me fat. Or I'm not carb tolerant. Okay. Now the problem is, it's
we don't tolerate intolerance.
Yeah, exactly. Podcast. I don't tolerate your bullshit. I'm idiot intolerant. So when we look at this, what you have to understand is no, carbs don't make you fat. Okay, and no, you aren't carb intolerant. What happens is you actually follow your diet. Okay, you follow the diet, but because you cut the carbs out, you followed a calorie deficit because it was, simple for you to do, and then you lost weight. It's not the carbs that were making you gain weight or lose weight. It was the fact that you're eating in a calorie surplus. Okay. Now cutting carbohydrates just allows you to be in a calorie deficit. So it's not carbs that make you gain weight or carbs that made you lose weight. It's the calorie deficit that made you lose weight. But people don't understand this. So they start creating these beliefs. They become dogmatic. And they go, no, carbs will make you fat. And then, we end up having these Chinese whispers around the campfire. And, people just say you have to eat clean. You have to have low carbs. And in reality is, no, you don't. You just have to track your food, right? It's like saying buying Nike $300 runners, right? Makes you broke. Well, it doesn't. Okay, if that's, but if you
does it make you a good runner though?
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I was like, but if we look at one thing, well, it depends. Did you save for them? Okay, how much of your budget did you spend on them? If you only made $400 a week and they were $300 and you bought them every week, yeah, 100% they'd make you go broke and in debt. So I think all we're looking at is, you have to have the context to understand the reality of the circumstance. Now, carbs can make you fat because carbohydrates are a vehicle for higher caloric foods, normally and hyper-palatable foods, okay? So if we're looking at a pizza with cheese and sauce and meat and pepperoni, and mate, it just makes me want to eat one right now. But it's like lots of calories, vehicle is the bread that is the pizza. Looking at a burger,
just getting a spoon and going into like a bowl of shit. I did that. Pretty sure I did that a couple of weeks ago where I made a pizza bowl, but it had mince and veggies in it too. But yeah, imagine just getting a spoon, going into a fucking thing of cheese and pepperoni. It's like that would still be delicious. But
it's not the same, mate. I can't do it. I need my vehicle, right? My vehicle is the carbohydrates, same as the vehicle for. But dude, we're looking at high carb pasta. If you put bolognese on some broccoli, okay, which I've done in the past, you can do it, and you're going low carb, but the amount of calories shrinks so much because you're not going to eat that much broccoli, right? And you don't even want to keep eating it because it just doesn't taste like pasta because it's fucking broccoli. So you just stop. Because
I'll put this down. It's done.
Yeah, because when we're looking at, we've got fats with the cheese, we've got protein, we've got carbohydrates, becomes hyperpalatable as well. But if you're like more so looking at a burger, double meat patty, double cheese, you got this bacon slathered in there with a bread. The bread, right, is there. I'm not having a double bacon, double beef patty, double cheese in a fucking lettuce. Okay, I'm just not wrapping. That's not a burger, guys. You can't tell me that's a burger. And if it's that big and it's wrapped in lettuce, you can't even hold it. So you're just going to have a salad. Okay. Yeah. So what's going to be lower in calories? The salad. So all I'm saying, guys, is I'm driving home this point that no, carbs aren't bad if we're tracking our food. Okay. Well, if I understand that this grilled burger, which is a mustard and pickle, is 536 calories and 48 grams of protein. Okay, I'll track that. I'll fit that into my day. The problem is people don't track that. So then when they do eat that, they feel like they're going off their diet. They have an all or nothing mindset. So they overconsume the chips that go with it, the Coke that goes with the pasta that night, and all the rest of it. So all they're doing is have an excess consumption of calories, which is making them not lose weight. So I think the biggest thing is, guys, you need to increase your nutrition IQ. You need to understand what calories are. You need to make sure you're hitting your protein amount. And that is what the truth of it is. Now, Jace did touch on it briefly, the point number 2, which is you tried to do a challenge. And we won't go into this too much because it is a little bit similar. But you signed up for a challenge and you actually never wanted to change your life. Because you signed up, I want to lose 10 kilos, and I'll lose 10 kilos in the next 10 weeks on this 10-week challenge. And I just need to commit for 10 weeks, and then I'll lose the weight. And then people also say, I can't commit to the 10 weeks right now because I'm really busy. So I'll commit to the 10-week challenge in like 6 weeks when life slows down. It's like, dude, the best time to start your changing of life is when it's the toughest, because that means when it's easier, you're fucking flying. Right. But the problem is you keep putting it off because you think of it as a 10-week challenge, when in reality is like, no, you shouldn't sink piss every day of the week. The reality is you shouldn't go get Chico rolls and sausage rolls every morning from the local bakery. The reality is, no, you probably shouldn't have cereal every morning for breakfast. Like, you probably shouldn't. You should start more higher protein based breakfast. Also, you probably shouldn't be Uber Eating, every single meal to try and, track your food, because it's going to be too hard. So you have to go, well, it's not a short-term mindset or a quick fix mindset, right? Because normally if you want a quick fix, you're going to lose what you got fast as well. People who win the lotto lose the money within a couple of years. People who lose the weight like that, they always put it back on because they never change their identity and they never change their behaviors. Okay, all they did was they slapped on a Band-Aid to literally a life-threatening wound. I've cut myself open. Okay, I'll just put a quick Band-Aid over that and see if that fixes it. It's like, no, you're bleeding out, mate. You're bleeding out. In 10 weeks, you're fucking dead, right? So it's like, it's not quick fix time, right? We have 68% of Australians are overweight or obese. A 10-week challenge doesn't fix Australia. It doesn't fix you, and it doesn't fix your family's health, right? Lifestyle change is what fixes it, okay? So, if you had a fat dog, right, you wouldn't go, you need a 10-week challenge, right? You'd go, we need to walk more, you need to eat less, and we need to keep this up. Okay, you just would. You wouldn't try and sign him up to the local 28-day challenge.
You wouldn't get him on one of those vibrating plate machines.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't buy him some hydroxycut or something like that, whatever they sell these days.
That'd be
exactly. He'd be buzzing. So what the problem is, what you're doing is you're putting this fixed time frame on achieving a solution. And then you're saying, I'll eat healthy between this point and this point, between day 1 and day 90, between day 1 and day 60 or 28. And then I'll go back to my old eating. Well, your old eating made you 10, 20, 30 kilos heavier. So if you lose the 10, 20 kilos by following this, challenge, and then don't maintain those new behaviors, walking 10K steps, tracking calories, training 3 times a week with a structured program, maybe going up to maintenance calories because you understood what calories are now, then, and still tracking it for the next 6 months whilst you're trying to create a new body fat set point, because that's another thing you could go into, but not right now. But you don't understand this, guys, because you need to understand more education around nutrition. And in doing a 28-day challenge or a 10-week challenge isn't going to give you that education. So as soon as you stop that challenge, you go back to eating like an asshole or like a child, not like an adult, like we talked about last week. And because you start eating like a child again with your chicken parmas and your chicken schnitzels and your chicken Kievs and your Chico rolls, trying to fit as many chicky things in there. And then you put all the weight back on. And you're like, I'll sign up for another 10-week challenge next year. But you're in this constant yo-yo between I need to lose weight and I need to do another challenge. I need to do another challenge, rather than doing dieting once, dieting properly, losing the weight, going into maintenance calories, understanding nutrition, still checking in with your weight and your measurements long-term on a weekly basis. And if you deviate past a certain point, you just dial it back in a little bit. And you never have to diet again, because you understand the principles. And I think this is why a fixed challenge is fine if you're saying, I want this as a kickstart to completely change my life for the rest of my life. And that is the only way that a challenge works. It's not like, oh, I want to do this challenge to lose weight so I can go back to being a fat bastard. You might think, oh, of course I don't do that. I don't think like that. It's like, okay, well, in the challenge, if you're only going to have like 4 or 5 beers a week, that's what you do from now on, unless it's a special occasion. Right? From now on, that's all you do. If you're only going to have like a burger once a week, I'll only have burgers once a week from now on. But that's what a healthy person does. I'm just telling you, they're not having burgers every single day. Now, you could fit that into your calories if you wanted to have burgers every day. But no, a healthy person ain't going out there and eating Maccas every single day of their life. And I know there's been studies where a guy lost lots of weight eating McDonald's and his health markers improved. But yep, if you lose 20 kilos, your health markers will improve. Would they have improved even more if he ate whole foods that weren't Maccas? Probably they would have. So let's not go into what you can and what you can't do. Just track your food, make it long term, not a quick fix. Jace, you want to say anything more about that, mate?
No, not really. I think you said it all. Like if you're setting out to just lose weight and not address or fundamentally change, it's like, well, what about afterwards, right? Just have that question in your head. If you haven't thought about what you're going to do after whatever this challenge is, then don't even fucking waste your money on it. Either just continue to sink piss and go the route you're going because it's just going to be a waste of your time and money, or say, hang on, I want to make some of these changes for life. What can I do to make more sustainable changes rather than just do a, quick, 1,500 calorie shred, blah, 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 right? fit-dad.club. Just go there and we'll hook you up. But no, and then I think the next one, and this is a big one that a lot of guys who
I'm going to preface this one, Jace. I wrote I wrote exactly what we wanted to talk about today. And I wrote these 6 points out. Me and Jace went back and forth. And we're like, yep, these are the points. And this is what point 3 was. And I'm going to read it just how I wrote it. You didn't lift weights and you grew a vagina. Okay, because and now, so when I'm saying this, guys, it's like I'm not being derogatory to females. There's a lot of females out there that probably can outlift me, but there's probably less. So when we're looking at this, it's the fact that you need to lift weights. You just have to lift weights, and if you're trying to do a plan to lose weight, doing like some form of Oz style aerobics, like it's not going to happen long term. If you're trying to just run your way to lose weight, okay, you lose weight 100%, but you lose muscle, and this is the actual problem, okay? Because it's not about weight loss, guys. It's about losing body fat. No one out there, everyone says, yeah, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight. But in reality, what they mean is they want to lose fat, because no one wants to lose half their muscle mass on their body and just be a skinny fat person, okay? No one wants that. Hey, you look a little bit tubby. Would you like to look a little bit smaller but still really tubby? No one says that, okay? They say, I want to get toned is the language they use. I just want to lose my gut, so I'm just going to do some running. No, that's not going to lose your gut. That will lose some muscle mass off your legs, off your arms, off your shoulders, and you'll just look a little bit scrawnier, still with a soft midsection and a gut. So that's the reality of it. So guys, you have to understand that you can't out cardio your body fat. You just can't do it long term. Right? Your body gets more efficient at running, which is something people don't understand. So if I'm running 10 kilometers and my Garmin says I'm burning 900 calories, right? And I keep running 10 kilometers and every single week I run 10 kilometers and in a year's time, I'm like still burning, my Garmin still says 900 calories. You're not burning 900 calories. Okay. You're not, because your body is more efficient at the 10 kilometers now. Like it just is. So you're not burning the same amount of calories. So you have to start running further and further and further to burn the same amount of calories. So one, it's not time efficient as far as a weight loss perspective. When you're in the gym, you can just keep racking more weight on the bar and lift heavier and heavier. So it's actually more time efficient, because as you adapt to the stimulus, which is what your body does to running and lifting, you can just keep increasing the weight on the bar to still keep the same amount of time in the gym as you're getting that progressive overload. Just doesn't happen with running. But you're going to drop muscle mass and fat mass because your body doesn't go, oh, I'm just going to lose just fat mass when I'm running, because it's not creating the stimulus to actually keep muscle mass, guys. So we diet to lose fat. And this is the 3 things you have to remember, guys. Okay, we do 3 things in this process. I diet to lose fat. I train to preserve muscle mass. I do cardio for heart health. That's it. Why are you doing so much running, Trav? I'm doing it for heart health and because I want to run an ultra. Okay, fantastic. Oh, I thought you were doing it to lose weight. No, that someone dumb would do that. I don't do it to lose weight. I do it to get faster. I do it so I'm harder to kill. At the end of the day, why do you lift weights and why do you run? Because I'm harder to kill. When the zombies come, I'm going to be the hardest. So when we look at
right
a
now,
guy,
I'm going to be the easiest.
yeah, exactly. Go to Jace. He's laying on his back. So it's like when you have to look at it, guys, it's like we run not to burn calories. We run to get fit. We run to increase our heart health. We lift weights to gain or preserve muscle mass, depending if you're in calorie surplus or a calorie deficit. And then we diet to lose fat. That's how it works. That's as simple as it gets. Anyone tells you different, they're a liar, and they're probably trying to sell you a fucking fat diet. So it's no different to that, guys. So I think that's what you have to understand. Jace, chime in.
Yeah, it's just don't grow the vagina in the first place. God, it is one of those things. It's like if you want to optimal, like above and beyond everything else, if you say you want to live longer, if you say you want to be there for your kids, if you say you want to, have optimal, stronger bone density and be able to move around better when you're older, there are ranges of motion that lifting weights put you through that you don't get running or doing aerobics, all these other different things. They don't put you through more specifically, they don't put you through weighted ranges of motion, right? Doing a squat pulls you down into flexion in a lot of the lower body, and it pulls you down into a squat. Doing that with your body weight, all well and good. You're not going to get that from running, but you are going to get a stretch, and your body's going to be more mobile and more stronger through those ranges of motion. So for the people who say, oh, I don't want to be big and bulky and all that kind of stuff, it's like some form of resistance training. Like, oh, fucking trust me, I'm go to my YouTube comments. I'm still not bulky. It takes a long time. But the biggest thing is that you're not, if you say these things are your goals, then including some form of resistance training is important. I get some people don't like it, and there's a difference between, oh look, I don't like weight training. There's fucking so many different types of resistance and weight training. You can do it more circuit based. You can do supersets. You can do fucking powerlifting style if you really want to, if you want to just get stronger. But you can do single sets. You can do all sorts of different stuff. You can intersperse it with cardio. Like, there's ways to change it up. But what a lot of people actually don't like, from my experience, is like they just don't like the idea of gym culture, because they have this idea in their head of like the late 90s, early 2000s of just like bros in the gym, oiled up with stringers and their nipples hanging out, just pumping out bicep curls. Like, oh, I don't want to be one of those muscle meathead dumbasses. It's like, all right, well, first of all, fucking curb your judgment, because they don't want to be a fat piece of shit. So don't throw stones if you live in a glass house.
Yeah.
So make sure you are, like, if this is your goal, if your goal is to be a healthier, better version of yourself, that involves some form of resistance training. That involves some form of challenging your muscles. As Trav said, each week you can challenge them a little bit more in an easier way. You don't, your adaptation to that stimulus is growing more muscle, which means more bone density, which means you live longer, which means you're stronger, which means all of the beautiful, wonderful, better things. You look better with your shirt off, if that's a goal for you as well. So, and above all else, that is, it increases your metabolic rate as well, which means that when you finish, you can eat a bit more food, right? And not gain more fat. That's a great goal. If everyone had, 300 extra calories that they burned in a day doing nothing, most people wouldn't actually gain weight in the first place, because that tends to be how they'll gain weight, is there's little increases in calories over time. It's like a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then each week they gain, 100 grams of fat, and it fucking adds up. So if you could burn an extra 300 calories by simply just having more muscle, you could eat more, you wouldn't put all the weight back on in the first place. Happy days. You can drink an extra 2 beers, and 2 beers a day. Yay, guess what? All good. Just probably don't do that, because it's bad. I don't need to tell you why alcohol's bad for you. Okay,
Exactly.
Go on now.
Now, in saying that, guys, you have to lift weights. It helps you stay strong for the rest of your life, okay? Because I tell you right now, I've trained and do train people right now still in their 70s, okay? And they are both males and females. And your overhead strength diminishes, your ability to carry diminishes, your ability to lunge diminishes, which is like, coming down onto the ground. Now, we don't just train for now, right? Because there's a time in our life where we stop sprinting. There's a time in our life where we stop jumping. There's a time in our life where we stop lifting things. And every time we stop doing things, one day we just don't do them anymore, right? Like, when was the last time that you sprinted up a hill for 100 meters? Like, some people could have been a long time. When was the last time you did a box jump, like hip height? Oh, a long time. When was the last time you surfed? I don't know, maybe it was a long time. And like, we stop doing things and we never do them again, which means that everything else becomes harder and harder and harder. So what your goal is to never stop doing things. That is literally it. Like never stop surfing, right? Like, never stop lifting weights. Never stop running up a hill as fast as you can. That doesn't mean you'll always be able to run it up that hill as fast as you could, or lift as heavy as you can now, or surf as big of waves as you did, right? But what it does mean is you're still going to keep the maximum potential for as long as you can. Muscle mass diminishes, right? It does. You start losing more and more muscle mass, guys, as we age. And your metabolism doesn't slow down, guys, and, very, very small amounts. I think until about 50 to 60. But testosterone does decrease slightly as it goes on. So we want to be training, we want to be maximizing testosterone. We really do. Okay. And how we do that? We do that with eating protein. We do that with sleeping well. We do that with lifting weights. We do that. I'm not going to... having sex. There you go. You could do that as well. Enjoy. So like but you don't do that by sitting on your ass, watching Netflix with your laptop sitting on your nuts, not sleeping at nighttime, cooking them, sleeping at nighttime while eating a fucking double Whopper with cheese, right? That is like complaining about how you don't want to go to the gym because those guys are full of themselves, right? Like that's not how you maximize testosterone. And then, so I think we just need to understand, guys, you got to lift weights. We got to get it done right. And with the one thing I do want to say, if you're negative about gyms, like, that's okay. Like, you can be negative about gyms, like build your own home garage gym. A lot of our guys do. But you also have to ask yourself, and whenever I judge anything or judge anyone, I actually consciously write it down like a lot of the times, and I come back to it later. So I'm present in the current moment, and I'll come back to it later, and I'll think about it. It's like, why was I judging that person? Was it out of jealousy? Was it out of envy? Or was it like, why was I judging them? And the same thing you have to ask yourself. It's like, or why am I caring? There's the whole book, like a subtle art of not giving a fuck, right? Guys, there's only so many fucks to give in life. Stop giving a fuck about the wrong stuff and start giving a fuck about the right stuff, like your weight and your health and being a role model to your kids, right? That's the right stuff to care about. Not the wrong stuff to care about is who's in the gym when you go and train, because no one's looking at you. Everyone's too busy looking at themselves anyway. So no one actually cares what you lift, how you lift, what you look like. They're too very worried about themselves and what they look like. It just is what it is. So stop focusing on that. Now, the next thing, and number 4, guys, and the next one, couple will sort of, flow through a bit faster as well. Step 4, the reason why you fail at long-term body transformation is you fold faster than a lawn chair when you hit an obstacle. All right. I think this is the reality, right? You fold faster than a lawn chair when you hit an obstacle, because so many guys, they're great when things are going great, but when things aren't going great, it's all or nothing, right? They're out, right? And they're like, oh, it's too hard right now. Or money's too tight, or times are too tough, or my kids, the kids are tough, or work's hard, or my wife's doing this, my wife's doing something, so I can't do it. It's like you're looking for every excuse known to man, right, to give up, to then justify your poor behaviors, because the reality is changing life is hard, right? Changing your life is super hard. If you're 30 kilos overweight and you're embarking on a journey right now, I tip my hat to you, okay? I tip my hat to you because you drew a line in the sand and you said, fuck this shit. I don't like where my life's heading. I'm going to change that. So congratulations if you've made the decision to change your life, because making the decision is the first step. But also in that time, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be lots of obstacles. But I like to have a mantra, which is obstacles make me stronger. OMS, right? Obstacles make me stronger. Obstacles make me stronger. Because every time you hit an obstacle, guys, if you can look at it as this obstacle is for me as a challenge for me to get over it, like a hurdle to continue to finish the race. It's not a wall that you cannot pass. It's simply a hurdle. Okay. So you go, how can I overcome this hurdle that is in front of me to get to the finish line for me to lose this weight? And all it could be is like, okay, I need to recalibrate what time I go to sleep and what time I wake up so I can train in the morning because I can't train in the night anymore. I need to change what I'm having for lunches or dinners because now I look after the kids 4 nights of the week because my wife is doing some university degree. I need to, there's so many obstacles. I need to work 12-hour shifts right now. So how can I do it? I need to start doing, 10 burpees on the hour every hour whilst I'm at work. I don't know. You're going to find obstacles. Get creative to find solutions because obstacles make you stronger. Stop being fragile, right? Literally at the moment, you treat your goals with such fragility. Okay, you're heading towards something, it becomes hard, you become hard, you're fragile, and you just break, right? You're literally like China, right? That's how strong you are. You're bang, broke.
The material,
okay, give
not
up.
The country.
Yeah, exactly. They're quite strong.
That's just it. If people want to achieve goals when it's convenient for them.
Yeah.
It's like nothing that's worth achieving is convenient. It's not a drive-through on your way home. There's no quick fix, simple solution that just makes it easy. And it's just saying, it's like when I used to teach train life coaches, they would be like, oh, but what if I'm coaching someone or I'm talking to someone and then they've got this block that comes up? I'm like, perfect. That block is the thing that you need to then fucking focus on. Stop trying to dig and delve through and find whatever this big esoteric problem is. And it's like, oh, if they've got an issue coming up and that's stopping them from progressing, awesome. Let's focus and work on that. It's like if you've got some issues with flexibility or an injury or something, and it's like, all right, I'm going to stretch myself out. Oh, I've got this knot. You don't just say, oh, can't keep going. No, you get like a foam roller out, you get a ball, tennis ball, you work it out, you work out the knot till you can improve your range of motion, and you do that week in, week out. The commitment to the end result, and I guess for a lot of us, right, the end result is the lifestyle, the actual change, and the embodiment of becoming that fit dad. For some guys, it might be a certain kilo target if you've got a bit to lose, and that's all right as well. But that end result, that has to be more important than all of the bullshit excuses along the way and all of the little things, those little things that just are little speed bumps along the way. But if you're not very committed to the end result, those speed bumps are like a fucking mountain, because then you're like, oh, I don't really care. I don't care that much to see what's on the other side of it. I don't care. All right, fine. I'll just fucking go back the way I came, go back down the muddy hill and sit in mud and be a fucking loser. And that's it. That faded real quick, but you get what I'm getting at.
But mate, it's the truth, right? So I think you become fragile, you give up. Our goal in life is to become anti-fragile, right? Every time we get hit, we become stronger. We take a punch, we come back stronger. We learn, because when we fall, if we get back up and we don't fall for that same mistake again, we have become stronger. Ergo, we became anti-fragile. Right? That is our whole goal. Fragile, someone hits a mistake, they give up, they turn around, bang, done. I'll try my 10-week, 10 kilo next year. Anti-fragile, they fall on their face, they get up, they're like, oh, fuck, that environment sucked. I'm not going to do that again. So they learn, they become stronger, and they keep moving forward. And anything worthwhile in life is going to be hard, guys. Okay? So just remember. Number 5, team, the 6 reasons you fail at long-term body transformation is you just didn't get accountability. You didn't put yourself in the right environment. You didn't have accountability to anyone to help you stay on track. And you didn't have proximity to anyone who also is doing what you want to do, right? It is so easy to lie to ourselves and justify shit. Oh, I'm just not going to track this week because times are tough. Or, oh, yeah, I had bad sleep this week because little Jimmy has got the flu. So because he has the flu, I'm also not going to train. we justify all these shitty excuses and we blame everyone else when it's ourselves. And if you talk to someone on a weekly basis, whether it be a mate, a coach, or anyone, and you had them keeping you accountable to the new standards that you were setting for your life, then they'll call you out on your bullshit. Remember, guys, as coaches, we don't want to be the friend that you want. We're going to be the friend that you need. We will call you out on your shit. Okay. And the same is you need to be accountable to someone who's going to call you out on your shit and say, no, man, like that's not good enough. You said you were going to do this. You need to do what you said you were going to do, because that is self-integrity. That is self-respect. And we're not only changing our life, we're changing our identity, which is someone who increases our self-belief. So stop with the bullshit. Let's set our goals for next week and you fucking hit it no matter what. And I think that is the type of accountability that you need from someone to actually change your life, not just your waistline. I think there's a listen, change your life, not your waistline. That's a new tagline, Jace.
Yeah. We'll trademark that one. But yeah, that's just it. Like, you have to have people in your life that are going to hold you to account to the goals that you say, because it's really easy to give up on goals and it's really easy to just let them go if no one knows about them. These super secret little goals. No one knows I failed because no one knows that I was setting the goal in the first place. So you've got to make it known. You've got to have people in your life that will, know when to give you some tough love, know when to give you a pump up, and know when, to give you a bit of a hype and just say, hey, Noah, come on, man, this is what you've got. Like, we all have low times. Like, we have plenty of guys that jump on the program like, oh, it's a bit hard. It's like, well, yeah, no shit, it's got to be hard. But do you want the fucking result or not? Do you want to be the best version of yourself for your kids or not? It's like, yeah, actually, no, you know what? Yeah, this is important to me. This is, there's obviously a reason why I'm doing this. Get me back in the ring, coach. And that's, you need someone who's going to be your fuck. I'm young. I haven't seen all the Rockies, whoever Rockies coach is, to get him back in the ring. You need one of those guys. You need a Rockies coach. I'm probably going to get fucking blasted.
I need to play the Rocky music. Yeah.
You got to run up the stairs and drink raw eggs and punch meat.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Not that kind of meat. The butcher's meat.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, you need to have accountability. And I think the reason why, just before, we don't want accountability is because then we know we have undertaken a goal and we have a fear of failure in life. When in the reality, guys, again, we talked about this before, stop giving a fuck about the wrong stuff, start giving a fuck about the right stuff, and get on your bandwagon to change your life, because that's what you need to do. So if you screw up and people know you screwed up, awesome. It means you just you have forced accountability to go again, which is awesome as well, which means you're going to get back on the horse and keep going. Number 6, and the lucky last reason why you failed to keep weight off long term is you tried to exercise for 90 minutes a week, but then you sat on your ass for the other 166 hours. Okay? Guys, you can't out exercise a sedentary lifestyle. You just can't do it. So when you look at your total daily energy expenditure, right? You burn a certain amount of calories on a daily basis. You got your basal metabolic rate, which is like 65% of your calories or 60%. You got your thermic effective food, which is about 10%, which is the calories you burn through digestion. That burns a certain amount of calories. Then you have a couple of other things, right? You have your NEAT activity, which is like your fidgeting, plus we're going to lump in our steps, like incidental exercise in there. That can be between 5 to 15%. And then we have our exercise activity thermogenesis, which is about 4 to 6% of your daily. If you train each day, it's like 4 to 6%. So if you look at this, guys, if you sit on your ass all day and then go to the gym for 30 minutes, like 3 times a week, it's like, oh, I'm training to lose weight. And you sat on your ass all day, you're actually affecting 1 to 2% of your total daily calorie burning of the whole week, right? So that's not going to change your life. If you want to do one thing, focus on your steps, right? That's not going to preserve muscle mass, but focus on your steps, because that has a much larger variance of your total daily calorie expenditure. You're going to burn more calories by going and doing 12,000 steps in a day than going to do 30 minutes of weight training. You just are. So when we have to understand this, guys, you can't out exercise a sedentary lifestyle. You have to have a holistic viewpoint on this. Eat more protein, eat less calories, get your steps in, do some weight training. Like, it has to be holistic, because the math doesn't math unless you do it all. Okay. You're always going to be lopsided. It's the wheel of life, but for your health and fitness, I guess.
Yeah.
Jace, what do you reckon?
Well, I think it's above and beyond that. It's on the weekends. What kind of dad do you want to be? Do you want to? Like, a lot of guys come to us because they're like, I don't want to be a sideline dad. I don't want to be the one who's just like, watching and can't participate. And the kids, I go, I'm just the dad. The dad who's always just the king of the pack and just kicks the footy and just waits for the kids to kick the footy back to him, and then he trundles over and I guess I'll go pick up the ball. All right, it's like no. You don't want to be that dad. Not if you're listening to this podcast. You want to be the dad that's involved and running around and being active. And it's like, it's not necessarily about looking at, I've just I need to do my steps and doing those things don't count. Go fucking play sports with your kids. Run around with them. Have fun with them. That's the kind of stuff, we've talked about this before. That's how kids spell love. TIME. Spend time with your kids, having fun, giving them your presence. And at the same time, guess what? You become a more active person. So it's the person who says yes to, going on the walk with your partner instead of sitting on the couch and watching TV or, going to the park and playing with your kids rather than sitting down and playing on the Switch or whatever it might be. Like you have to be, you have to be willing just to be a more active person and do more active things. Your weekend activities might consist of going for a hike as opposed to going to the movies. Like it obviously there's balance, and it's not like all of a sudden you just become someone who can't fucking sit down. But those elements will translate into you being a happier and healthier dad, and also as a side effect, probably help you lose a bit of extra body fat as well. By changing your lifestyle as opposed to just focusing on, all right, I did my training session, now I'm good for the month. No, you're not.
Very true.
Very true.
Now, guys, that's all we got for you today. That's the 6 reasons.
There's your 6 reasons. Which one do you want to identify with the most? Comment below.
Yeah. No, but guys, at the end of the day, that's the reality. They are the 6 main reasons. You either try to, exercise for 90 minutes and try to out-exercise a sedentary lifestyle. You didn't have accountability and you just didn't change your life because you justified shit to yourself. You folded like a lawn chair whenever you hit an obstacle. You didn't lift weights and you grew a vagina. You tried to do a challenge or had a challenge-based mindset with a start and finish line for your new behaviors, or you were just trying to follow a fad diet that wasn't sustainable long-term, and you actually had to just increase your nutrition IQ. So let's scrap these 6 ideas and reverse them and do the opposite, and you'll have long-term sustainable fat loss, weight loss, lean muscle gain, and fitness. Guys, if you want help with this, go to fit-dad.club and you can jump on a call with us where we'll close the gap between where you are, where you want to be, and the roadmap to get you to success. If you want to follow us, go to Instagram, go to YouTube, go to anywhere, leave a review, comment below, send Jason well wishes for his sore back. Guys, that's it for another week. If you want us to do an episode on something specific, let us know as well, because that's what we're here for, to help you become a fit dad.
Awesome. Take care.
Peace out. See you guys.